All right, guys, here it is. The rebuild of my intake manifold is 100% complete. All bolted in, and everything's finished. And so I wanted to share this update with you guys. I know some of you have commented on my first video, and there's been some requests for me to provide all the part numbers, some pricing, and some suggestions there, recommendations based on what I went through. And I'm happy to do that in a follow-up video. So it'll be a third video. This is the second one. And so stay tuned for that, and please like and subscribe. But I hope you guys like what you see in front of you. The everything went quite well overall in terms of getting the intake manifold back on the car. Again, I did it by myself. It does help to have a second pair of hands, but there's a few things that I did to make it a bit easier. One, the vacuum line that runs from here to the bottom of the intake manifold where the ISV sits. I actually made this line a little bit longer, and instead of me connecting it this way towards the intake manifold, I actually had it coming towards the intake manifold, hanging loose, ready to connect into this elbow. So that helped, rather than trying to feed this plastic vacuum tube underneath the intake manifold. That's one thing that helped. The other thing too is trying to sort of position the intake manifold and clocking it at a bit of an angle where it sits a bit not crooked, but not straight, where you can connect in the TPS plug, which of course is buried under here, and also the two plug connector for the ISV. There's not a lot of pigtail, a lot of harness, I should say, to do so. So you have to really kind of be patient, manipulate it, and make sure you hear that nice click click once it's plugged in. So those are two tricky things. And then of course feeding all the PCV hoses. And I shared with you guys before, I change every single PCV hose. So every single PCV hose is brand new. That's these guys here. And then the PCV hose from the oil filler neck, the oil filler gasket, I also changed that, and I cleaned everything under there. And then also the PCV hoses on the left side of the engine, I changed those as well. And as I mentioned earlier, all the fuel lines are brand new. So that was an adventure, and they're all brand new. And so those were the two lines at the rear of the engine were replaced. And then of course this one I did, the front fuel line I did actually last year, so that's relatively new. But anyway, that's the project complete. I will say that I did have a big problem. Once I had everything bolted in, torqued, and installed, connected, the car refused to start. And I bashed my head against the wall for 2 straight days, and I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't start. I went and double, triple, quadruple checked everything. I switched around the relays for the fuel pumps, the LH, the EZK, with the horn relay, and just to make sure that it wasn't a relay issue. And that didn't help. The car would crank and crank and crank, it just wouldn't start. And then ended up shooting some ether, some starting fluid into the MAF, with the butterfly open, the throttle open, and I sprayed a generous amount of starting fluid, and boom, the car started and ran for about 10 seconds. So I was like, okay, that means I got spark. So after that, I was kind of shortening my list. And a good friend, Don, came over, who's a local 928 friend, an enthusiast, and owns a bunch of 928s. He came over with a spare LH computer, which is the EFI computer, And he said, well, yeah, so before I plug my spare in, let's just remove your plugs and just plug it back in and see if maybe some pins were dirty or something. And by pulling the harness plug out and pull it back in, it might sweep against the pins and clean them. Sure enough, we did that, unplugged it, plugged it back in, boom, the car started first go. It was so freaky, it was weird. Anyway, so it started up first go, and I lost 2 days just troubleshooting why the car wouldn't start. It's the most exasperating feeling because you feel like, what did I do wrong? Why wasn't the car starting? Because it was running perfectly before I started this project, which was 6 weeks ago. So yeah, it took me 6 weeks to do this intake manifold rebuild. It would have The first time I did this, which was on my 87 S4 manual, which I sold a couple of years ago, it only took me 2 weekends because parts were available. It was pre-COVID, things weren't back order for a month, and things were just easier to get. Fast forward today to 2021, basically almost October 2021, and now suddenly things are taking 3 times longer. So just a heads up for anybody that is attempting this project, set aside quite a bit of time because it is going to take some time to get all the parts, especially if you do the fuel hoses, all the PCV hoses, ISV, and everything else. So just be prepared, and also word of caution: be prepared to kind of open up your wallet as well, because this is it's not a cheap project or maintenance item. There's a lot of things to do while you're in there, but do it once, spend the money once, and you'll feel so much better. It's peace of mind. It's a bit of a pill to swallow with the cost and the effort involved, but at least you know it's done right once, and you don't have to worry for many years to come. So this has lasted until this is 32 years old. What am I saying? The car's almost, it's 88, so it's almost 34 years old. And this is the first time the intake manifold has ever been redone. So I'll be a very old man by the time it's get ready to be done again. So anyway, I hope you guys like this video. I am gonna shoot another video to help with the part numbers. So please stay tuned for that one. Give me a few days or a week to upload that, do some work so it's a bit easier to follow along, and I'll upload that video to help you guys. But here we go, and I hope this helps anybody that is gonna attempt this at home. Very doable at home. Don't feel like you're intimidated. Just go after it and do it. If I can do it, you can, and I hope this really helps, and feel free to ask me any questions. Happy to help you guys out. Take care and all the very best. Bye.